back to another video. I wanted to make a quick review of one oddball horn and one kind of not oddball horn. Horns that I'm not really going to use a lot, but I just wanted to talk about them. First up is this weird thing, straight bass trombone-ish that I have. There's no real analog for this instrument. The closest thing to this is kind of the Bach 45, which is kind of a bass slide, sometimes dual bore, small dual bores, and tenor upper, bass lower. But those all have valves. There's not really straight Bach 45s. Bach 45s also have a different tuning slide than the 42 or the 50, the tenor or the bass. And then some of them do have 9.5-inch bells. So this is roughly similar to that, but it's not quite the same. This is 555 bore, straight, big old wide slide with a bass crook. This is a yellow brass slide, by the way, with oversleeves. It's straight, there's no valve, and then it's got this weird hybrid tuning slide size that's not the same as tenor, not the same as bass. It starts out pretty small here, so about tenor sized, I would say, a little tiny bit bigger, and then really dramatically flares until around here. This is just straight up bass sized. It fits bass mutes, and it's 9.5 inches. What a strange instrument. And strangest of all is that it's actually pretty good. I mean, I think you can hear it in the recording. It has some serious sound quality. Like, it is not like a nasty nasal sounding instrument with a bass mouthpiece. Very importantly, it really is in the bass category. It does not really work with tenor mouthpieces. It really feels like playing a bass with a tenor mouthpiece. It just feels gross. But you can tell it's actually kind of good. I still can't wrap my head around what this would be good for, because, like I said, with a tenor mouthpiece, it just kind of sucks. It doesn't like play super loud and super high or anything like that. I literally cannot imagine. Some part of me wants to put valves on this and make it into some kind of small bass, but that seems like such a crazy overcorrection since this cost me $100, I think, $50. I can't even remember. I basically got it for free with my other Chinese instrument. Real quick though, just hear a sound demonstration between this and my monster bass. Let's see if I can make this pretty good. So just an idea of that second partial. And here, of course, is a real bass trombone. It's a very similar sound. Obviously, they are different. This has much more of the low end in the sound. This is a bass, dual bore slides, the big slide, big tuning slide, valves to add some mass, and of course the bell starts much larger than that bell does. But it really does have that bass character. Let's play a little bit higher, maybe some different articulations. One really weird thing about this is that the bell is really close to the player. Not to the slide, there's plenty of room there. But third position is actually like a little bit past the bell on this. And of course, most of my other horns, third position is like here, way farther towards the player. So that's why some of those E flats are a little sharp. You can hear the really big difference in articulations, but it does sound kind of bassy. It has a little more of that weight to the front of the note that a tenor just doesn't have and shouldn't have. It definitely has that bass character with a bass mouthpiece. So this isn't really a review. I'm just telling you these things. At least this one, not that bad. This slide, weirdly good. Like, I would absolutely use this. I've just been playing on it. I lubed it, of course. It's been cleaned a couple times, and it's good. It feels good to use. It does not have any weird, like, sticky spots. There's, like, probably some stuff out near the end, but nothing that prevents me from playing. I've got loose solder and one of these bell braces that it keeps rattling around. But otherwise, built pretty well. The tuning slide moves, or at least it did. There we go. The tuning slide moves. What a weird instrument. Why does this exist? And again, I have no idea what to do with it. I was going to give it to one of my friends, but since it doesn't have the kind of like crazy loud, like nasty quality that I thought it was going to have, it doesn't seem appropriate. Like, I'm sure they would enjoy having it, but they're going to use it just about as much as I am. So, I don't know. I'm at a total loss. I don't want to just throw it away because it's actually pretty good, but am I ever going to use it? Next one up, that's not Oddball, is the Besson Standard Euphonium. I do not know the history of Besson. Like, these are made in the 70s, I think. That's about all I know. I know there's like later round stamp euphoniums. There's the Sovereign, there's the Prestige, obviously the modern stuff. I do not know the timeline. The Standard is from the 70s, and they made like a cajillion of these. Pretty heavy. I'd say this is a little heavier than my Yamaha, despite having the smaller, I think, 11-inch bell. This looks like a smaller bell than the Yamaha. I have them both out right now, which I'm pretty sure is the 12-inch bell. You can see that extra flare on the end there. And yeah, I'm pretty sure this is heavier. This is a heavy, chunky boy. These bells are really thick. You can see it's been repaired. It is not ultimately perfect, but it is pretty much as good as it could possibly be. There's still a couple things. You can see this F wrap. Yes, this is the F side. It's a little bit sad towards the end of this this loop right here. I thought there was another one of those. Oh, the main tuning side has been pushed in with this brace to the main body of the euphonium right here. So there's a little ding, and someone like really went to town. Where was it? Oh yeah, up here. This has really been like kind of like pushed in right here. I don't know how you do that. I guess if you just like wham it on something, the case doesn't touch it there. In any case, it's not in perfect shape. I'm missing a middle button, the original one, but apparently these are impossible to find, so whatever. And of course, the fourth button is also different, so I can't swap that out and have at least 3 in a row that are the same. Oh well. So really only got the bell fixed. I'm using my Bach 3GB. The B stands for baritone on this version of Bach mouthpieces. Later, of course, this stands for Beversdorf, and they have a different rim that's really round. The B on these, where it is marked, on at least this one, it is marked below the 3G. That means it's for baritone, and it's small shank. So it's basically they made larger mouthpieces, like the 1.5G, the 2G, 3G. I think there's probably 4Gs and 5Gs as well, that are small shank, and they're meant to be played in euphoniums. Of course, this is medium shank, so I have this stupid adapter that luckily I have. I'm not sure where I got it, because of course this is medium shank. And the plan for this is to source a large shank receiver. Shouldn't be too hard. I can get one for like the Yamaha 842 or a Besson, modern Besson Sovereign, and just have that soldered on. So lead pipe stays the same, and just this receiver right here, and you put on a new receiver, and it's large shank. And that way you can use real mouthpieces like my other euphonium. So let's do a quick sound comparison with this. I find this plays pretty well. It's definitely not as open as the Yamaha. I have to kind of change my blow, my chops just a little bit to play it. But intonation, other than high E, high F, E, E flat, is actually quite good. And it just, the valves work, and it makes a pretty cool sound. You can hear that high F. I'm not playing any alternate fingerings. Pretty sharp, but if you use the F side, it actually sounds pretty good and is much more in tune. On my other euphonium, Yamaha, the F side does not sound good up there, so I don't have the option of playing those. can't see it, but I play the E flat and the F with this up there. And it doesn't respond quite as well, but it still has the same character of sound, which the Yamaha does not keep. And I like that quality of sound. Let's compare that to the Monster modern Euphonium. Of course, just a little bit larger in most ways. 12-inch flare, thinner, much thinner bell, and a real mouthpiece. The high F on this is actually not that badly out of tune. The E flat below that is pretty sharp, and I have to play that 1 and 3, which is a weird combo. Overall, this is mostly easier to play. It's kind of similar, actually, to playing those two instruments, the straight bass and my monster bass. Yes, the monster bass is a better instrument. It is better built. It makes a better sound. But I have to put a little more effort into keeping the sound centered because it is so much larger. And that's the same case for this. I can find myself starting to spread and the instrument gets really hard to play. Whereas the Besson has a much, I'm not going to say simpler, but an easier blow where I can just kind of relax, if I relax especially, and I can just play. I can relax more. Definitely some little flubs in there where I go valve to valve and the sound does not quite follow. Do the same thing on this, at least an attempt. Right there, I started to spread just the smallest amount and the horn went, no. You're going to start to double buzz. It's going to be a bad sound. And that's the problem. I run into this sometimes. I really have to be pretty dialed in, and then it feels and sounds great. But if I just get away from it, just like my monster bass, it doesn't really work. So, modern horns, generally better, easier to play. I do like the sound of this a lot. I'm not going to say that I don't like it. But these oddball horns are also not that bad. That's all I got today. Just a couple observations. I'll see y'all in the next video. Goodbye.